guys, Jackie M here, and this is day 2 of my series on Periscope, 30 days and 30 Asian ingredients. We had a bit of fun yesterday talking about soy sauce, and today I am going to be talking about coconut. Essentially, we use coconut milk in a lot of our cooking. Nowadays, a lot of people also use pre-packaged coconut cream and coconut milk. Okay, but back in my day, we used to buy our coconut from the wet market every morning. They will have like a small little mountain of coconuts, and there will be old coconuts of what you use to get your coconut milk from, and the green big giant coconuts are the young coconuts that you get your coconut juice from. So don't confuse the two of them. I've known of people who bought like green coconuts, taken them home and hoped to get coconut milk out of that. It's not going to happen. Anyway, old coconut, the old ones with a lot of brown husk on the outside, was what they used to crack at the wet market. They'll dip out what little water there is left in there, and the water is generally not potable. It tends to be a bit sour. What they would do is use this big round spindle that runs on a motor, and they'll scrape the coconut flesh out of that, and the grated coconut falls into a pile, and they'll bag it up and tie them up in these plastic bags and hang them up to sell. We would buy a bag of coconut, take it home, and without adding any water to it, you would express the first extraction, okay, and what you will get will be quite a rich and thick, coconut milk. And all the recipes back in my day would refer to that as thick coconut milk, okay. Now, once you get that first extraction, you would then add a couple of cups of water to it, mix it around, and then you extract it, and that extraction will be referred to as thin coconut milk. Scientifically, a thick coconut milk will have a fat content of give or take about 17 to 22%, okay, whereas thin coconut milk will be somewhere between 5 and 7%. So there is quite a difference in there. Now, when I came to Australia, first of all, it was virtually impossible to get fresh coconut for years and years and years, and it still kind of is the case. So virtually everyone who cooks anything that requires coconut milk buys the ones in packets and in cans, right? Then because they're now packaged and canned, this additional term comes into play called coconut cream. And I've had people tell you online that coconut cream is if you make your own coconut milk at home, which you can do, and I've got a video online if you want to check it out. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/JackieM, JACKIEM, and there is a video that shows you how to make your own coconut milk. And essentially all it is you can use desiccated coconut. I generally find desiccated coconut seems to have lost a bit of the flavor, whatever the process is that people go through in terms of producing desiccated coconut. Essentially, basically you soak desiccated coconut in some warm water, and then you would blend it and then extract it, just like putting it through a cheesecloth or something like that. And there is this assumption, or certainly this theory that goes around on the internet in a couple of nice looking blogs. The way I tend to be a little bit suspicious of a lot of these fancy looking, well-designed glamour blogs, because you need to basically cross-check some of the information they give you. So what they would, I've seen some of them tell you with some degree of authority that coconut cream is the layer that goes on top. I think that they're transferring their understanding of dairy cream and how it's made to coconut milk, which I think is wrong. In a manufacturing plant, that's not how they make coconut cream. This is coconut milk that I've made myself about an hour ago. If you can see the layer on top, okay, if you apply that theory, basically the top layer is coconut cream and the bottom layer is coconut milk, and that's not correct, I don't think, because the settling is going to keep happening, so that if I kept this in the fridge, by tomorrow, the bottom layer is going to be virtually like water, okay, like a slightly foggy water, and the top layer will actually be semi-solid. And that is not equivalent to coconut cream that you buy in a packet. The other thing I want to mention in terms of coconut milk and coconut cream, when I first came to Australia, and I don't know if you can actually still get it nowadays, I've had people tell me, oh, they opened up their can of coconut milk, found that it's settled like that, and then thrown it out because to them it's gone off. And unfortunately, I think manufacturers have taken that as a lead for them to stick additives in their packaged products. So nowadays, I haven't come across that situation with manufactured coconut cream and coconut milk anymore. But yeah, coconut cream, if you open up a packet of it, it will be like, you know, consistently thick all through. But if you look closely at the ingredients on the packet, you're going to find that it's got additives. So if ever you come across any brand of coconut cream or coconut milk that does in fact settle, buy that, because that to me indicates that it's actually a purer product. If you were following Asian recipes that still refer to thick and thin coconut milk, then I would correlate the requirement for thick coconut milk with using coconut cream and thin coconut milk with just regular coconut milk. On my website, my recipe for making coconut milk uses desiccated coconut because they're so easily available. But if you have access to like Asian or especially Indian grocery stores, look in the freezer section and you can find frozen grated coconut, and that to me has a lot more flavor to it. Back in Malaysia as a teenager, I didn't do a whole lot of cooking, okay? So when I came to Australia when I was 17 or 18, when I started getting into the whole cooking thing, I did what everyone else did. Research cookbooks back in the days because no internet back then. Nowadays, lots of stuff online. Now, there is a misconception. There's this ingredient that we call Kerisik in Malaysia, Kerisik, and if you have experimented with some Malaysian recipes, you may have come across it. Malaysia is multicultural. Being of Chinese ethnicity, my mom didn't do a lot of cooking of Malay dishes. We used to do rendang, chicken curry, and that was about it. And my mom's rendang never used this thing called Kerisik, okay? But when I started researching and tried to experiment with recipes, there was a lot of mention of Kerisik. A lot of references to Kerisik, even now online, and one of the more prominent blogs online actually has it wrong, the way I see it. A lot of people, non-kampung Malays, think that Kerisik is just toasted desiccated coconut or toasted grated coconut, okay? So you'll see if you Google Kerisik recipes, you will find a lot of, not all, but a lot of basically blogs teaching you how to make your own Kerisik, and essentially it just involves toasting some coconut in a frying pan and then just letting it cool and lightly pounding it to bring out the flavor, and that's wrong. That's not Kerisik, okay? And I found that out about 5 years ago when I started doing a little bit more traveling and that sort of stuff back to Malaysia. And Kerisik, to the Malays, who are the ones who actually use it in their cuisine a lot, Kerisik is actually a coconut paste, okay, that's been browned. There's a gentleman online, his name is Chef Norman Musa. Like me, he came from a professional background. He's based in the UK, and he put out kind of like a hack how to make your own Kerisik. And instead of your typical kind of like, oh, get some desiccated coconut and pan fry it and then lightly pound it once it's cooled down, he tells you to use creamed coconut. Creamed coconut is not coconut cream. They're different, okay? Creamed coconut, if you can imagine a coconut flesh that's kind of like been completely milled, so it's you know, a little bit gritty sort of thing, but very, very creamy. You can buy them in blocks in Asian grocery stores. Sometimes, in fact, usually it's kept in the refrigerator. So look out for that. What he would do, creamed coconut, is microwave it. That was his hack, okay? Or you can just cook it in a saucepan until it gets really, really brown. Because Kerisik, if you Google it online, is you know, it should in fact look like a paste, like a burnt paste. And I have got a packet here, Kerisik. This is Kerisik, okay? You see it's very, very pasty and very, very rich. And when they tell you to make Kerisik yourself by toasting desiccated coconut, this is the result you will end up getting. You see, it's still too dry for it to get to that pasty consistency because there's just too much moisture taken out of desiccated coconut. I pan fried this and then I milled it in my Thermomix and then pan fried it some more. And the flavor is there. It's got a little bit of fat content in there, but it's not like a buttery, like what Kerisik should be. And this, you can basically achieve that texture and that result from creamed coconut. So look out for creamed coconut. So there you go. That's your Kerisik. Like I said, this is what it should look like. And you can make it by just pan frying a block of creamed coconut in a saucepan till it's brown like that. And a lot of this doesn't actually keep very well, so you have to freeze it if you're not using it right away. Thank you so much for joining me on Australia Day, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And if you've got any questions at all, like I say, pop it in online, and I will do my best to answer it the next time I see you. And I hope you find this informative, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao, see you guys.